Welcome to Mindful Objective, the podcast where we explore the root causes of health concerns and uncover holistic tools to restore balance. I'm your host, Dr. Daniel Sproul, integrative health practitioner and professor, and today we're diving into a critical but often overlooked topic: heavy metals. Most people don't realize how common heavy metal exposure is. It isn't just from food, it's in your prescriptions, everyday lotions, deodorants, and even in our water. This episode's designed to give you a clear, simple understanding of what heavy metals are, where they come from, and what they do to the body, and how you can protect yourself. We also share how testing through Mindful Objective, especially hair and urine testing, can offer vital insights into your personal exposure. As always, the reminder this podcast is for informational educational purposes only. We do not diagnose, cure, or treat any illness or disease. Let's get started. So, when you first hear the term heavy metals, you might immediately jump to things like lead pipes, mercury thermometers. Maybe it feels like it's an issue that only impacts people who work in factories or who live in polluted cities. But the reality is, heavy metals are part of our everyday life, and they can have a profound impact on your health if they accumulate over time. So, what exactly are heavy metals? Heavy metals are naturally occurring elements found in the Earth's crust. They have high atomic weights and densities, which means they are very heavy compared to other elements. Some of these metals, like iron, copper, and zinc, are essential for human health in tiny amounts. Your body needs them for things like making red blood cells, supporting your immune system, and enabling enzyme functions. But others, like lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic, and aluminum, serve no useful purpose in the body. So, in fact, they are toxic even at very low levels. An important thing to understand is that heavy metals are bioaccumulative. This means they can build up in your body faster than your body can eliminate them. So over time, even small exposures add up, leading to potential toxicities that can affect multiple systems, including your brain, kidneys, liver, and immune system. So from an integrative health perspective, we're not looking at isolated symptoms when it comes to heavy metals. We view the body as a connected system. Heavy metal exposure can be hidden imbalances that drive fatigue. Another one would be brain fog, hormone issues, gut dysfunction, mood disorders, and many more. And because symptoms are often vague, traditional medicine might miss the connection entirely, focusing only on the surface level with treatments without identifying the root cause. Some people always ask, where do heavy metals come from? So you might be surprised on how many sources of exposure surround us daily. One of them is air pollution, especially if you live near highways, factories, or urban centers. Heavy metals like lead and cadmium can be present in airborne dust. Contaminated food, fish, rice, leafy greens, even processed food can contain heavy metals absorbed through the environment. Water, tap water, depending on your location, may contain trace amounts of lead, arsenic, and other metals. Household products, cosmetics, deodorant, sunscreens, and even some baby products contain metals like aluminum and titanium dioxide. Another one is medical and dental sources such as mercury fillings, which are the silver fillings. Aluminum containing medications and certain vaccines can contribute to exposure. Then you also have industrial and occupational services. So working in manufacturing, painting, construction, or mining can increase exposure risk. So we often ask, what happens when heavy metals build up in the body? So body has a natural detoxification system, primarily the liver, kidneys, lymphatic system, and skin. But when heavy metals accumulate faster than these systems can eliminate them, they start interfering with normal biological processes. So heavy metals can disrupt mitochondria function. This reduces your energy production. They can interfere with your neurotransmitter functions. So this would affect mood and cognition. They could trigger immune dysregulation. This will lead to things like autoimmunity or chronic infections. They also promote oxidative stress and inflammation, which is damaging of tissues. They also disrupt hormone balances, which will impact your thyroid, adrenal, and reproductive health. So this means symptoms might look very different from person to person. One individual might experience overwhelming fatigue, while another struggles with stubborn weight gain, while yet another develops migraines and chronic digestive issues. So why does traditional medicine miss this? You got to think, in a conventional setting, systems caused by heavy metals are often treated separately, right? Fatigue, they may say take iron. You have anxiety, they may give you an antidepressant. Hormone imbalance, they may start you on hormone therapy. But if the root cause, heavy metal burden, is never addressed, true healing doesn't happen, right? Just treating a symptom. You're never getting better. So this is where integrative health in general shines. So at Mindful Objective, we view heavy metals as possible underlying contributors, not isolated conditions. We believe in testing rather than guessing. So functional lab tests like a hair tissue mineral analysis test, you might see this HTMA test, or a heavy metal urine challenge test can uncover hidden metal burns that regular blood work just usually misses. So let's see how functional labs help. So standard blood tests don't often show the full picture, right? Blood levels reflect only what is currently circulating in the body. So if your body has pushed heavy metals into tissues to hide them, blood tests might appear normal, right? So this is again, this is where functional labs come in. So a hair test analyzes the minerals and toxins deposited over months in your hair, right? Different than a blood test. This gives you a better sense of chronic exposure. Then we have a urine test, especially after gentle chelation agent, shows when heavy metals in the body actively try to excrete the heavy metals. So seeing these lab results side by side often uncovers the true story and the real story. How much heavy metal burden are you carrying? You know, how well your detox pathways are working. That's what these labs show. So heavy metals in general are common, right? Exposure is mostly inevitable because you can't sometimes avoid these things, right? Certain medications you take or certain kind of water you drink. How do you know what's in it? So symptoms of heavy metal toxicity are often vague and widespread. Traditional healthcare may miss the connection between symptoms appear and when they disconnect. Functional lab testing provides deeper insights to what's happening below the surface. So from an integrative health perspective, addressing heavy metals can be a crucial step towards reclaiming energy, focus, and overall wellness. So now let's talk about heavy metals in food. So when people start thinking about healthy eating, they usually focus on things avoiding processed foods, eating more vegetables, or cutting out sugar. But one practical and a critical piece that's often overlooked, even among those that are super health conscious, is that heavy metals are in food. So yes, even heavy metals, even foods in general that are healthy can sometimes be a hidden source of a toxic exposure. You know, a lot of people don't realize that. So again, here we believe in empowering people with knowledge, not fear. Again, that's what we're doing a lot of these podcasts and doing free resources, but through our consultations. So when you understand where heavy metals come from in your diet and how to make better choices, you dramatically not just dramatically, but overall, you look to lower your risk, right? And that's what we're here to support you, right? And another thing you want to do is support your body's natural healing abilities. That's what your body does best, heal, right? But you got to let it heal and give it the right tools. So let's start by bringing this down simple. How do heavy metals end up in food, right? There's a few major pathways: contaminated soil and water. So crops grown in polluted soil or the water contains heavy metals like lead, right, cadmium, and arsenic, and it just gets into the roots of the plant. So then you have industrial pollution, right? Factories and mining activities, they produce a lot of heavy metals, right, which can settle on plants and into the ocean. Then you have food processing and packaging. So during manufacturing, food can pick up metals from equipment, additives, and packaging materials, right? That's why you're seeing a lot of people may get away from plastic or may get away from using certain materials, styrofoam, and so forth. Then natural accumulation, right? Certain plants and animals naturally accumulate higher levels of metals even without a human population. So the truth is, even organic foods can sometimes contain heavy metals if the soil or environment are grown is contaminated. That's why it's important to think of terms of risk reduction, not perfection. Common foods contaminated with heavy metals. Here's a quick list. Large fish. So what are large fish? Tuna, swordfish, shark, king mackerel are notorious for accumulating heavy levels of mercury. These big fish eat smaller fish over lifetimes, and this concentrates mercury into their tissues. Another one would be rice, particularly rice grown in parts of the U.S. South. Usually, in the south of the U.S. Another one would be Asia, right? They have higher arsenic levels due to historic pesticide use. Leafy greens, spinach, kale, lettuce can absorb metals from soil, especially cadmium. Root vegetables, carrots, beets, potatoes grow underground and can pick up lead or cadmium. Cocoa products, some chocolate brands have tested high in cadmium and lead, especially dark chocolate, right? That's a shocking one for a lot of people. They eat a lot of dark chocolate because they think it's healthy. They may contain high amounts of cadmium and lead. So, processed foods often carry even more risk because ingredients are sourced globally and there's little control over soil and water quality at every point. So, from an integrative health lens and why it matters, chronic exposure, even in small amounts of heavy metals in food, can slowly overload your body's detox pathways. So, over months and years, this can manifest as chronic fatigue, digestive systems, digestive problems, anxiety and mood swings, hormone imbalances. This would be especially in the thyroid, poor immune functions, brain fog and memory issues. So, what's the frustrating part? Is that conventional medicine often treats these symptoms separately, missing a connection to environmental toxins entirely. So, again, at Mindful Objective, we see clients struggling with vague, hard to explain issues. We often recommend functional testing to check for hidden heavy metal burdens. So, the best way is a simple hair analysis. This can reveal long term exposure, while urine challenge tests can show when the body's actively trying to get rid of it. A lot of times, we prefer that hair tissue testing. It's a lot easier. Do it in the comfort of your own home. So, again, testing isn't about fear, it's about strategy. Once we know where you stand, you can make smart, focused changes instead of feeling overwhelmed or guessing blindly. So, one thing you got to do is reduce heavy metals in your diet. So, the good news is small shifts in food choices can dramatically lower heavy metal exposure. Choose smaller, wild caught fish. So, instead of tuna or swordfish, choose fish lower on the food chain like sardines, mackerels. You want the small ones, not the king. Anchovies, wild caught salmon. So, these fish have less time to accumulate mercury and toxins. Then you want to also, for those that eat rice, you want to be smart about eating rice, right? Rinse rice thoroughly before cooking. Cook rice in extra water, then drain it to reduce arsenic levels. Rotate rice with other grains like quinoa, millet, and buckwheat. Choose organic white balsamic rice from California, India, or Pakistan, which typically tests lower for arsenic. What you want to do too is buy organic when it matters, and it matters the most. So while it doesn't, organic in general doesn't guarantee metal free, it often means less pesticides, herbicides uses across the whole board, right? This reduces overall toxin burden. You want to also prioritize organic versions of foods that are more prone to contaminations like leafy greens and root vegetables. Watch out for chocolates and snacks, right? A lot of chocolate brands that publish heavy metal testing, some higher end ethical brands invest cleaner sources and safer products, so buy quality chocolate. And what you want to do is support natural detox through food. So you want to choose food naturally support, foods that do naturally support detoxification. These foods are like garlic and onions. They're rich in sulfur compounds. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. Another one would be cauliflower. Yeah, that'd be a good one. Cilantro and parsley, they may support metal binding. Another one is kind of like berries, high in antioxidant fruits. Blueberries are a big one that's they're high quality, right? They help your body do a great detox. So these foods help boost liver function, glutathione production, and toxin elimination. So again, you don't have to be perfect. You can't drive for perfection. You'll never get there. So what we do here, I always preach and teach on reducing exposure about progress, not perfection. It's nearly impossible to eliminate every source of heavy metals, and honestly, stressing too much about every bite you eat can cause its own kind of toxin, right? By simple making smarter, more informed choices, mostly over time, you dramatically lighten the load on your body. So remember, testing can guide food choices. So if you're already eating a lot of fish, rice, processed foods, conventional produce, and you're wondering if heavy metals are built up, testing gives you clarity, right? A hair test might show high arsenic, mercury, and lead levels before major symptoms even appear. So that early detection allows you to shift your diet. Remember, we always talk about being proactive. This could allow you to shift your diet, support detox pathways, and protect long-term health without waiting for a major problem to happen. So be proactive. Why do you want something bad to happen? Let's do that, heavy metal test and see what the issue is and where the issues are. And two, you have fatigue, you have migraines and all this, and you can't figure out what's doing it. You try everything and you're at your wit's end. Maybe it's time to test for heavy metals, right? Is it high aluminum, high mercury? Is it low nutrients and it's causing these issues? Could be a lot of things, but till you test, you don't know. So, just in summary of this whole thing, heavy metals in food are real common but manageable with awareness. You want to focus on low mercury fish, safer grains, and clean produce. Use food as a daily tool for natural detox support, right? It's not always about a supplement, it's not always about a medication. Testing can reveal hidden burdens, but it helps guide smarter choices. Remember, progress, not perfection, leads to long term success. Now, this next part, we're going to talk about heavy metals in prescription and healthcare products, right? A lot of people think it might be in food and everything else, but what about your prescriptions and healthcare products? A lot of people don't take that into account. And a lot of people are buying like cheap healthcare products, right? If you go to our website and you go to our, we offer supplements and healthcare products at a 20% discount. So feel free to sign up there and search it. But same, toothpaste, lotions, you know, sunscreen. Find the healthy alternatives that don't contain certain metals. And there's, tons and tons of products on the website. So be sure to check it out. But now, when we think about heavy metal exposure, most people picture, again, the polluted water, fish with mercury, or maybe contaminated soil. But one thing often overlooked of this source is many, and everybody trusts these things as prescription healthcare products, right? They automatically assume, oh, my doctor said get this, I'm going to get it. Well, what is that going to lead issues to? So it could be surprising or even unsettling to realize that things meant to help us might carry hidden risks, but understanding where exposure comes in, where it allows us to make smarter decisions. So again, from an integrative health perspective, be mindful on even small exposures. These matter and because they accumulate over time. So one of them is pharmaceuticals, right? They're highly regulated in some ways, especially for effectiveness. But when it comes to contaminants like heavy metals, the picture gets murkier. Inactive ingredients in medications. So again, inactive ingredients, many medications contain additives or fillers to help with stability, absorption, and appearance. Some of these, like aluminum compounds, are especially routinely put in without necessary flagging to giving a warning to anybody. So again, this not just medications, but supplements too. That's why we only recommend high quality vetted supplements that are third party tested, right? That don't contain fillers. So the other thing is manufacturing process. During production, trace metals in general can be introduced through machinery, containers, or even raw material sourcing. So then other people, deliberate additives, right? Certain vaccines, for instance, use aluminum salts. These ingredients usually stimulate a stronger immune response. Who would think, right? Certain vaccines. So there's common, I guess we'll touch on this too, is common medications linked to metal exposure. Here's a shocker for many people that are on these. Antacids. Many over-the-counter and prescription antacids contain aluminum hydroxide. Diuretics. These are water pills used for blood pressure or swelling. These can deplete minerals like potassium, magnesium, making heavy metals toxicity harder on the body to manage. Then we have older vaccines. Some still use aluminum or mercury-based preservatives. And then pain medications. How many people are on these? Some over-the-counter medications like buffered aspirin contain aluminum compounds, right? Do you know what's in your over-the-counter medications? So when you take these medications occasionally, the metal exposure is low, but if you rely on them daily or over months or years, the cumulative impact may be significant, especially if you're taking over-the-counter, pain pill. If some people live on those things for years and years and years. What's that doing to the body? And is that the cause of different issues you're having? So heavy metals don't just pass through the body like fiber. They tend to lodge into tissues, especially fatty tissues like the brain, liver, kidneys, and bones, creating long-term health challenges. So, again, from that integrative standpoint, even small repeated exposures matter because they burn the body's detoxification system and regulatory system. This tips the scales towards dysfunction over time. Again, be proactive. So now healthcare products are another hidden source. So beyond medications, which already surprise a lot of people, personal care products contain heavy metals, some intentionally, some through contamination. So here's what to watch out for: deodorants and antiperspirants. So most conventional products contain aluminum compounds to block sweat glands. Sunscreens. Some mineral sunscreens use nanoparticles of titanium dioxide or zinc dioxide. It's not if it's not formulated correctly, these particles may carry heavy metal contaminants. Makeup studies found lead in lipsticks. Yeah, studies have found lead in lipsticks, cadmium in eyeliners, and other metals in foundations and powders. These aren't listed on a label because they're considered contaminants from the manufacturing process. So something to be aware of. You want to buy high quality makeup. Lotions and creams. Some body care products use ingredients sourced from polluted environments or manufactured with minimum oversight. So, again, it's how it adds up in the body. So, by applying deodorant, you get aluminum exposure, sunscreen, potential titanium exposure. Applying makeup, possible lead and cadmium exposure. How about prescription medication? There's potassium aluminum exposure there. So each of these individual actions seem harmless, but done every day for years, layered on top of food, water, environmental exposures, it starts to matter a lot. So from our view, we're not just about inducing fear. We're about empowering you to understand the total body burden. The idea is that every exposure adds up and something to think about, right? It's not the one-time use. It's using it over and over and over. What's it doing to my body? So heavy metal exposure through medication, healthcare products can contribute to cognitive decline, right? Are you forgetting a lot? You slow to process things, hormone disruptions, chronic inflammation, autoimmune triggers, kidney stress, fatigue, and mitochondrial dysfunction, right? Always tired. Is it due to heavy metals? And again, buildup happens slowly. You might not connect the symptoms like brain fog or low energy to products you're using daily, but it can be. So how can we utilize functional lab testing to help with this? So if you suspect, long-term medication use, using skincare products for a long time or other healthcare routines, it may contribute to that heavy metal burden. So that's where, the functional testing comes into play. That hair tissue mineral analysis shows long-term storage of metals like aluminum, lead, mercury, and cadmium in the body. So we often see cases where hair shows heavy metals, even though urine looks low. So indicate metals are trapped inside rather than being flushed out. So that's where that hair tissue mineral analysis test comes into play. Take an inch of your hair off. You cut different sections in different part of your hair on your head. It's at home lab test. Mail it in and find out what your exposure is. So if you're concerned about exposure through healthcare products, switch to aluminum-free deodorants. So you want to look for clean brands that use baking soda, magnesium, or botanical ingredients, right? That's another one. You want to choose clean skincare products, prioritize products labeled as tested for heavy metals or EWG certified. Use mineral sunscreens from trusted brands. So you want to avoid products that contain nanoparticles unless thoroughly vetted. You also want to read medication labels carefully. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about alternatives if your prescriptions contain aluminum-based fillers. Again, small switches over time lighten the body's total load on this toxic burden. You want to get resilience, energy, and clarity in this. So again, heavy metals can sneak into your life through medications, personal products. A chronic low-level exposure builds up over time and impact your brain hormone and immune health. So you just want to be aware, understand what your risks are and what the products you're taking in. Now functional lab testing can help detect this and identify, where you stand. And we know healing starts by removing hitting exposures. You want to support your detox pathways naturally and safely. So again, pay attention to what you're doing to yourself. It matters. So remember, symptoms are messages, right? Your body's always communicating. When something feels off, whether it's low energy, poor sleep, mood swings, or digestive issues, there's usually a deeper reason behind it. So heavy metals are one of those hidden root causes that quietly disrupt your health for years before you even realize it. So, right, like you could do functional lab testing now and be good, and 6 months from now, because you took something, now you have heavy metals in the body. But you need to know where you stand, right? Were you exposed and you didn't know, right? You know, a lot of people as kids were exposed to lead. They get the test done and realize some people were exposed to lead and don't have no lead in their system, right? Their body detoxed it. Others, the big one we're seeing now with a lot of these testing are aluminum and mercury. Is that from pollutions in the air, right? They say chemtrails and all that. Is it from the food we're eating, the products we're having? But I'm seeing a lot of people come back with high aluminum, high mercury. And what do? There are different detoxes out there, heavy metal detox, another functional medicine detox. But there are ways to get it out, right? Sweating, so forth. We'll talk about it more here. But yeah, you got to focus on being proactive. So heavy metals are harmful because they interfere with your body's normal functions at the cellular level. So think of them as like bullies pushing their way into places where they don't belong, blocking enzymes, damaging tissues, and disrupting communication pathways. So here are main ways heavy metals can wreak havoc. We kind of touched on them: mitochondrial damage. So your mitochondria are the power plants of your cells responsible for producing energy, which is ATP. Heavy metals like mercury, lead, and cadmium can directly damage mitochondrial membranes and enzymes. This slows energy production. So, what's the result of all this? You'll feel tired, sluggish, mentally foggy. And even when you're doing everything right, there's something wrong. Another one would be a nervous system disruption, right? Heavy metals can cross the blood brain barrier, accumulating in brain tissue. They can interfere in neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, leading to symptoms like anxiety, depression, poor memory, and concentration problems. Then, for hormone balance, right? Heavy metals can mimic or block hormones at the receptor level. They may disrupt the thyroid, adrenal gland, sex hormones, causing imbalances that show up as weight gain, mood swings, infertility, or fatigue. Another one would be immune system confusion. Heavy metals can trigger the immune system to overreact or worse, attack its own tissues. This is autoimmunity. So this is why some cases of autoimmune disease improve when heavy metal burden is reduced. Another one would be inflammation and oxidative stress. So heavy metals promote free radical production, leading to chronic inflammation and accelerated aging, right? Do you see somebody that's 30 years old that looks very old? Well, is it a problem with heavy metals in their system? Right? You see some people gray hair at age 20. You see some people balding at an early age. Is it due to hereditary issues or is it due to heavy metal exposure? So again, over time, inflammation can damage blood vessels, organs, and even your joints. So because heavy metals impact so many systems at once, systems vary widely, right, from person to person. Some people may experience just one or two symptoms, while others may feel overwhelmed by multiple issues. So, again, common symptoms of heavy metal toxicity include chronic fatigue, brain fog and memory problems, mood swings, depression, anxiety, digestive problems, which may show up as bloating, constipation, food sensitivities, headaches or migraines, hormone issues, irregular cycles, low libido, thyroid dysfunction, skin problems, rashes, eczema, acne, numbness, tingling, or tremors, autoimmune flares, right, like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's. So it's important to note that even if you don't feel sick, you may have still heavy metal burden. Sometimes people living with these exposures just think they're getting older or stressed out, when really metals are quietly draining their vitality. So, why an integrative approach matters, right? That's what we focus on: integrative health. So, fatigue, prescribed stimulants, antidepressants, brain fog, they recommend nootropics, cognitive enhancers, hormone issues, right? Conventional medicine will start with synthetic hormone replacement. But if the real issue is heavy metal interference, it's never identified or addressed, these interventions only act as a band aid, right? You're just treating a symptom. You're never getting better. And Like we tell people all the time, you've been on all these kind of medications for 30 years. At what point did you think they're going to start working, right? If you've been on them 20 years, when is that pill going to help you, right? Something to think about. So, from an integrative health perspective, we step back and ask, where is the dysfunction coming from? What's overwhelming the body's natural repair system? How can we remove the burden safely and support true healing? So, that's where functional lab testing plays a critical role, right? Here, tissue mineral analysis, HTMA, can show accumulative heavy metals from traditional blood work that traditional blood work usually misses. Again, we have that urine test that can show what the body's actually eliminating at that present time. But again, that's at that present time. You want to look at the bigger picture. That's why we go for the hair test. So together, I mean, we can use multiple testing to paint a big picture. But, again, working hand in hand with your practitioner, we can get you on the right path. So one of the most frustrating parts of heavy metal toxicity is that it creates self-reinforcing cycle. Metal disrupt digestion and nutrient absorption. So you may become deficient in minerals that help detoxify, like zinc and selenium. Metal stress the liver and kidneys. Detox becomes less efficient. Another one would be poor detox, right? More metals accumulate. So you're not detoxing, more metals are building up. And again, more metals, more symptoms. All right. We talked about the symptoms a few times. You got to break this cycle. So it's not about a quick fix. We say things take time. It's about thoughtful step-by-step support, lowering exposure, nourishing detox pathways, replenishing lost minerals, and restoring balance. So again, at Mindful Objective, we emphasize on testing first, right? It's not expensive to do the test. Run the test, see where you are. Let's come up with a good plan. So guessing or randomly trying detox supplements can backfire if your system isn't ready, right? Testing shows us which metals are present, how much of your body is burdened, how well your detox systems are functioning, where mineral deficiencies need to be addressed first, right? Healing heavy metal toxicity it's possible, but it's the safest and most effective when it's personalized. So now into a real world example. Imagine someone who's battling fatigue, hormone issues, and mild depression for years. They're, conventional labs with their medical doctor, their labs come back normal. Their doctor suggests antidepressants or birth control pills, right, for their hormones. So through integrative testing, we find high levels of mercury and lead stored in tissues, like from years of eating tuna or working in a building with old lead pipes. By supporting mineral balance, gently opening detox pathways, and avoiding new exposures, they finally start to regain energy and mental clarity and hormone balance. So this is the power of finding the root cause. So find the root cause to work on imbalances rather than treating a symptom. So again, heavy metals disrupt energy, mood, hormones, immunity, and more. A lot of people's symptoms are often vague, but very real. Conventional medical approaches often miss heavy metal connection. So again, the functional lab testing hair and urine reveal the hidden burden. True healing happens when you lower your load and nourish your body back to balance. Again, that's what we do. We help rebalance the body. We do not, treat, diagnose, or cure any illness. We're here to help you rebalance your body. Get your body to heal itself. That's what we're here to do. So how do we avoid heavy metal exposure? That's one thing you got to take away from this episode too. You have more control than you think. While it's true heavy metals are everywhere, it's in our environment, food products, sometimes even medications, you're not powerless. So from the integrative health perspective, it's all about reducing total burden on your body that it faces every day. You don't need to live in fear or try to eliminate every single exposure. That's impossible. That's why I say all the time, it's not perfection. Just take it day by day. It's a slow process. You work, be on the right path, stay positive, you'll get there. So instead, you could focus on smart, sustainable changes to lighten the toxic load in your body. This will allow your natural detox system to keep you resilient and strong. So let's walk through how. Step one to do is clean up your water. So water is a huge source for heavy metal exposure, especially lead, arsenic, aluminum. Use high-quality water filter. Look for filters certified to remove heavy metals, not just chlorine bacteria. Brands like Berkey, Aquasana, and Clear Filter make strong options out there. And if you go to mindfulobjective.com, there is a section under shop with kind of products that we recommend. So you could also test your tap water, especially if you live in an older home in an area with older infrastructure. Lead pipes are still surprisingly common in many cities. Another bonus tip is filter your shower water too. You absorb heavy metals, any of those metals and chemicals through your skin and lungs while showering. Same, you're taking a bath, you're just soaking in those heavy metals. So, that's why we kind of push whole house water filter, water softener, and then also reverse osmosis for drinking water and cooking water. So, from a functional testing standpoint, if you suspect water exposure, a hair analysis often reveals metals like arsenic and aluminum accumulating before symptoms appear. So, especially if you have kids and stuff too, maybe get them tested at a young age. So, step two, you got to rethink your food choices. As we discussed earlier, food can be a major source of heavy metal exposure. So, smart swaps includes choose smaller wild caught fish like sardines, anchovies, and salmon instead of tuna and swordfish. Rotate those grains. Don't rely on rice for every meal. Mix in quinoa, millet, and also the amaranth. Prioritize organic, especially for leafy greens, root vegetables, and berries. Wash produce thoroughly. Even organic produce can pick up contaminants during transport or handling. Now, again, washing and rinsing means in high quality water, not your tap water. So, again, don't aim for perfection. You're never going to get there. So don't go and throw everything out you eat. So even shifting 70-80% of your choices lower total, exposure. So it'll give you benefit over time. Step three, upgrade your personal care products. This is a place where simple switches make a huge difference. Start by replacing deodorant. Choose aluminum-free versions. Native, Schmidt's, Preliminary Pure offer cleaner options. And again, mindfulobjective.com. Go on there. You could sign up where we have supplements and healthcare products 20% off. You go on there too and shop at that supplement and healthcare store. And there's a lot of high quality products vetted on there too already. So just go on there, search interested in hand lotion. Search once you create an account, search hand lotion and feel free to buy it right at 20% discount. Another one would be sunscreen. You want to opt for non-nano zinc oxide sunscreens for brands that test for heavy metals. Makeup, if you wear it daily, look for clean brands that test contaminants like RMS Beauty, Beauty Counter, and Crunchy. Lotions and creams, choose simple ingredient lists that you actually recognize. So remember, the skin is your largest organ. Everything you put on it absorbs to some degree. So clients who switch to clean personal care products often see decreases in stored aluminum, lead, and cadmium over time. In repeat hair analysis tests, right? We test them. Let's change your products. Let's give it 6 months. Let's see how you do. And toxins go down. And we found out it was because they're healthcare products. Step 4, be mindful about medications and supplements. So you never want to stop a prescription without medical guidance. But if it's wise to be aware that medications and supplements can contain aluminum and other heavy metals. So ask your pharmacist if aluminum-containing fillers are present. Explore alternative formulations if available. Sometimes generic versions have cleaner ingredient lists. Support detox naturally if you need to stay on them long term, right? You're going to be on these medications long term. You got to get your body prepared and make sure you're doing high quality medications. Example, if you take antacids daily, you might also focus on magnesium replenishment, sulfur-rich foods, and liver support to offset potential aluminum exposure. Step 5, boost your natural detox pathways in your body. Your body's built to detox, but it needs certain nutrients and conditions to do the job well. So daily habits would be staying hydrated, right? Water helps flush out toxins through kidneys and lymphatic system. Eat sulfur-rich foods, onions, garlic, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and you want to produce more glutathione. This is the body's master detox antioxidant. You want to support your liver. So beets, dandelion greens, milk thistle supplements can enhance liver enzyme activity. Get enough minerals. Zinc, selenium, magnesium, and calcium all help crowd out heavy metals at the cellular level. So functional testing insight, at Mindful Objective, we often run mineral panels along with heavy metal tests, right? That organic acid test. Let's look at that and see what how your minerals are in your body. We'll also see minerals within the heavy metal test too. So if your minerals are depleted, your body struggles to excrete toxins, and it's often hard to replenish them, right? Because your body's not absorbing them. So you got to replenish your nutrients there too. So then, step six, you want to choose, like we talked, safer household products. So think beyond personal care. Look for environmental. Switch to stainless steel or cast iron cookware. Avoid nonstick pans coated with aluminum based materials, right? A lot of them, Teflon and so forth. Filter your indoor air. HEPA filters can remove airborne metals and pollutants. Also, change to safer cleaning products. Avoid harsh chemicals. Many contain solvent residues that increase the body's toxic load. Right? What are you spraying on your counters? Does it leave a residual on there to where every time you touch it, it's absorbing in your skin? Right? Maybe switch to a natural product. And again, mindfulobjective.com. If you go to shop, there's different kind of products on there, especially cleaning products and stuff that we recommend. Again, start small, replace one thing a month, and do what's manageable for you. Right? Everybody's individual. Not everybody's a billionaire. And do it, and slowly over time, it'll definitely do a benefit. It'll benefit you. So you hear about chelation, right? People may talk about this when they hear about heavy metals, but a quick note about it. Using supplements for chelation or medications can pull metals out of the body, but while chelation can help in some cases, it should never be done randomly or aggressively without proper testing and guidance. Mobilizing metals too fast can overwhelm your organs and create worse symptoms, right? You see people read things online or see some TikTok video and, oh, I'm going to detox my body this way, and they cause more issues long term. That's why we say work with one of our health coaches, integrated practitioner here. Slow process, right? It's not overnight. Let's slowly do this. But we're not only doing stuff based on supplements, we're doing it based on testing. We're doing it based on your food products, changing your water. There's a lot that goes into this, and you need that guidance. So we say we always test first. We want to build up your detox pathways before you're targeted by heavy metal detox. That's how we want to get the heavy metal detox started, right? Test first and support your detox pathways. So safe detox is a marathon, not a sprint. So you don't do it overnight. It takes time. So you can reduce your heavy metal exposure through simple daily choices. Focus on clean water, safer foods, cleaner personal care products. You want to support daily habits. Testing gives you a roadmap to personalize your detox efforts, right? Empowerment, not fear. This leads to, long-term health changes. So one of the most powerful truths in integrative health is you can't fix what you don't measure. So when it comes to heavy metal toxicity, your systems all alone rarely tell us the full story, right? You have brain fog, fatigue, mood swings, hormone imbalances. These could all be signs. But to truly understand what's happening inside the body, functional lab testing is essential, right? That's what we do here. That HTMA, remember that, hair tissue mineral analysis. We also do that urine heavy metal testing, but we'd focus more on the HTMA. So why not just a blood test? That's one of the first questions we always get asked. Can I just go to my medical doctor and get a heavy metals test in my blood? The answer is blood tests have their place, but they have serious limitations when it comes to heavy metals. Blood shows what's circulating right now. It does not show heavy metals that are pushed into tissues or stored over time. So your body's smart. It tries to protect you by hiding metals away from places like your brain, bones, liver, and kidneys. This means your blood work might show normal when, in fact, you have still a lot of heavy metals in your system. So getting that hair tissue mineral analysis, this is the first tool we use at Mindful Objective. It's exactly like it sounds. We analyze a small sample of your hair to look at the mineral and heavy metal content stored in your body over the past 2 or 3 months. So why hair? Hair grows slowly and steadily. As it grows and incorporates minerals and toxins from the bloodstream, it creates a kind of a time capsule to look at your internal environment. So what does the HTMA test reveal? It'll reveal information on heavy metals like mercury, lead, cadmium, arsenic, aluminum, levels of key minerals like magnesium, calcium, potassium, sodium, zinc, selenium, and more. Also show us your mineral ratios that tell us your adrenal function, thyroid health, and overall metabolic balance. So why it matters is if we see high mercury or lead in the hair, we know your body is dealing with ongoing exposure, so not just a one-time thing. If mineral ratios are off, it often means your body's detox pathways are stressed or struggling. If heavy metals are not high enough, mineral depletion can alone explain fatigue, anxiety, and immune dysfunction. So HTMA test gives us a roadmap, right? A bird's eye view on a long-term toxic load in your body's resilience. And let's talk too about, we do the urine test. We don't do it as often. Again, it's just like right now exposure, which, anybody could have a right now exposure. Our thing is like long term. Are you exposed to this over time? Is it your house? Whatever it is. If over a 3-month time frame, you're showing a lot of exposure to stuff, then we know there's a lot of changes to be made, right? Urine test might come back high exposure, and that was because you were in a factory today, right? Or you just took some medication that day or something. So we want to look beyond that. So that's why we focus on a hair tissue mineral analysis. So what happens after testing? Once we have your lab results, we build a completely personalized plan. So depending on your results, it might include mineral rebalancing, gentle detoxification support, right? We want to use food, herbs, and binders to help your body eliminate metals. Lifestyle modifications, right? Reduce your exposure. Is it food? Is it water? It's maybe everything, right? We kind of document it all, and let's start here. Let's see how things go. Want to support your nervous system, right? Calm inflammation, oxidative stress by the metals. Also, targeted supplementation, using specific nutrients to support mitochondrial repair, hormone balance, and immune recovery. We may have you do a heavy metal detox. So, and importantly, we move to get your body in the right pace. We don't believe in aggressive detoxes that create more harm than good, right? We want to do a slow detox. Sustainable healing comes from respecting your body's natural rhythms. Get your body to heal itself, right? So let's get you there. So functional lab testing reveals heavy metals hidden in tissues, not just blood. Hair testing shows long-term storage. Personalized, thoughtful protocols, not aggressive detoxes, lead to real healing over time. Testing is the first step toward empowerment, right? You want to know your numbers to give yourself a roadmap, right? Let's stop guessing. Let's get what's really there and get through it. So we'll start wrapping this up. So just final thoughts. Healing is possible, right? Heavy metal exposure can sound overwhelming, but the truth is your body wants to detox. You just have to support it, right? Awareness is the first step. A lot of people hear heavy metals all the time, but do not know what they are, right? Hopefully this podcast kind of explains what heavy metals are. Not only that, the awareness is needed to get you on the right path to say, hey, you know what? Maybe my symptoms are based on heavy metals. So testing gives you power to act intelligently. It helps you avoid new exposures where you can. And it helps you support your body's natural detox systems. Work with someone trained to guide you, right? That's what we're here for. So remember, you don't have to guess and hope. Testing gives you a roadmap. And we believe in clear guidance, real strategies, and simple steps forward. So that sums it up for this. So thanks for joining us on this episode of Mindful Objective. Today we unpack the world of heavy metals. How? Through an integrative lens. We can understand exposure, protect ourselves, and support healing. So again, the truth is heavy metal exposure is common, so it's not shocking. It's not shocking when we run a test and come back with exposure. It's like, okay, we identified this, so let's work on it. Not a big deal, but we'll get you on the right path. So awareness, avoidance, and smart detox strategies can make a huge difference. So at Mindful Objective, we meet you where you are, right? Whether it's foundational lab testing, high-quality supplements, or clear guidance to move forward. Be sure to visit mindfulobjective.com to get started, browse services, and reach out for support. Again, we offer a lot of free support. Reach out if you have a question. Quick reminder, this podcast is for information and education purposes only. We do not diagnose, cure, or treat any illness or disease. If today's episode gave you clarity, please share it with someone who's ready to take their health seriously, but may not know where to start. And that's a lot of people out there. So please be sure to share this. Again, it's free information. It's what we're trying to give away. Trying to break these down as best we can to kind of help people. That's our goal. Remember, your body wants to heal. Let's give it the tools it needs to start the process. Let's do this together. See you next time. Stay well.